We are live on a Sunday.
Oh goddamn! I had to fix my volume. I couldn't hear shit for a second.
What up? What
Uh,
up? What up?
Happy Easter. Happy what is it? Wrestling Jesus Day.
Yeah, apparently the NWA is the greatest thing since sliced bread now.
I mean, he should have been on Trivia Mania. At least he would have been able to guess an entire list of fucking NWA World Champions without fucking it up, Brandon.
Oh, okay. We're, don't worry. Resurrection and Revelations are coming in a couple of weeks.
Resurrections and Revelations, aka y'all getting y'all ass kicked by JJ.
Anyone but Jet. How about that?
But anyone, literally, this is the just like the greatest storyline ever. And I just want you to know, I have like someone who's like in my personal circle in real life who's personally invested into this and wants Jet to beat you.
Do I even know this person?
No,
Why do they hate me? What did I do to them?
it's not that. Apparently, to them, Jet is the badass baby face.
How is
He
he the
designed.
baby face?
Listen, I'm explaining to
Hey,
you
you
the
know what?
terms that
I take
from
it
the
back.
audience.
I take it back. What's my name? Okay, he could be the baby face. That's okay. I just realized. Of course, I'm the heel.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, I wanted to wait for you to catch it yourself. I'm like, this
Yeah.
motherfucker fell into his own trap.
Yeah, I just realized that. Okay, that's okay. I'll be the
How is
heel.
he the baby face when my name's Brandon the heel?
I mean, he's just a dick. There's a difference, you know?
He's the Drew McIntyre of the story, though.
Yeah,
He's the dick that everyone likes.
yeah. He's the one who he's the Drew McIntyre in the fact that he thinks that he's right and he's justified when you know that's far from the case. But let's get this party started. Did you recognize the music that opened the show today?
No, I did not. Because
Hell,
I was fixing my volume. I couldn't hear shit.
little Pat McAfee.
Oh, god damn it.
Come on, come on. I pick out the music intentionally for the big story, and the big story, obviously, this since Friday is the Pat McAfee inserted into the main event storyline of WrestleMania Night One. So, co-host, lay it on me. What do you got? I mean,
I mean,
we all reacted. We were on Zeus's space. I think on was it Saturday yesterday.
it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so a lot of people reacted, but now that it's digested a little and parts of the story came out, and I don't mean like the storyline, but the story of why Pat McAfee is involved. So, now let me hear what you got.
Huh. I mean, I still feel the same as I felt yesterday. I mean, it's completely fucking stupid. It makes no sense. And it's not just Pat McAfee. It's just the over reliance. You see, and you brought up the argument the past couple weeks of, well, celebrities are a staple of WrestleMania. Yeah, one big celebrity or maybe two, like a Knoxville and someone else. But like in terms of celebrities being all over the shows, everywhere you see, you got fucking Little Yachty on Friday, Stephanie Monday, Pat
Right.
McAfee Friday, Sexy Red yesterday.
Well, let's to be fair, Sexy Red is not part of WrestleMania. We're not gonna. Are we really considering Stephanie McMahon a celebrity?
Yes, her last name's fucking McMahon.
She's not a celebrity though. She's part of WWE.
That's what makes her a celebrity.
No, celebrities are people who are outside the wrestling circles, like a Jelly
She's
Roll.
outside the wrestling circle. She's been in the White House multiple fucking times. You'd have to be a fucking celebrity or a politician to have that fucking
She's
privilege.
First
Come
off,
on now.
her mother is part of the administration, but that's neither here nor there. But it's like the same argument I have with Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee to me is not a celebrity inclusion. He's in the
I
WWE.
disagree. Pat McAfee gets millions of views on YouTube.
But he's
Millions.
still okay. But he's still been part of the WWE for the last 8 years as a paid employee.
That he's still a famous entity outside of the WWE landscape.
But
Like
that
people
doesn't
definitely
make him
know
any
who
that doesn't make him any less part of WWE. Logan
He's
Paul's
been,
that
but I'm saying
Logan Paul's
McAfee's been
that
on
way.
ESPN. He covers football. Football is the most nationally recognized sport. Like, don't sit here and say Pat McAfee is not a celebrity. He's definitely a celebrity. The same way
I'm
Tom
not
Brady's a celebrity.
right. He's a celebrity in the general sense, but as far as within WWE, he's not just a celebrity who's coming in for one night for a WrestleMania like a Yachty is or like an I Show Speed. He is part of that WWE
Oh,
culture.
I forgot about that fucker. I Show Speed too. You get what I'm saying? Again, catching my drift.
But if you actually think about let's take Pat out as a celebrity, right? You really only have two celebrities who are kind of involved in actual direct matches, and only one who's actually in a match, we assume, and that's I Show Speed. Little Yachty's just coming out with, Trick. He's not in the actual match, so he's acting as like a one night manager. We really don't have as much celebrities as people are making it out to be. Jelly Roll,
no,
for all we know,
that's not the point I'm making, Brandon. They're using the celebrities and the bigger names because they don't feel like they have the names or the creative or the storylines to get people into WrestleMania themselves, which shows me that TKO or WWE or the combination of both are showing advanced levels of desperation right now to get people in that building to justify running WrestleMania in the same place 2 years in a row and proving it's not a bad decision while they're scrambling to figure out if they're going to have Saudi Mania or not due to the fact that we're in a war in the Middle East right now.
Well, Saudi Mania is a whole different conversation, but I still don't think it's quote unquote desperation. I think desperation is really overselling it. I think they are trying to get tickets sold, obviously. I think the biggest mistake they did was going back to Vegas because of TKO wanting to be back in Vegas and screwing over New Orleans. I think if they would have gone to New Orleans and stayed there, ticket sales would have been a lot better than they are right now.
No, I agree, but you got to also think of at the same time too. WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl. Usually, you would think the Super Bowl is not gonna not draw because it's in San Francisco 2 years in a row. There's people are still gonna go to the fucking Super Bowl no matter what.
Right.
By that, you feel me? And WrestleMania, you would think would be the same in that logic with it being a once in a year lifetime event. People travel all across the globe to come here no matter what, and they're not. At least not at the rate that they did last year. A lot of it's due to pricing. Some of it's due to bad booking and creative, which is why they're bringing all these big name celebrities out of fucking nowhere. Again, in the past, you'll get one Rock or one Johnny Knoxville. You know what I mean? You're not getting all these different type of celebrities and people of notoriety on these regular ass fucking shows to try to build up interest for WrestleMania and the stories within them.
Like, see, the Jelly Roll thing I don't get. Because if he's not part of WrestleMania, what was the whole point? What was the point of him being used for 3 weeks in a row if it was not leading to anything that had to do with WrestleMania?
Because they're desperate and they're trying to get people back interested in their product.
Jelly Roll's not going to get wrestling fans back.
No, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying Jelly Roll's not going to get wrestling fans back interested in in the WWE product because he's having a mid card, lower card match with Kit Wilson.
No, but they're hoping that the big boom AJ effect happens to them. That enough of a small subsection of someone else's fan base helps increase and builds onto their own. They're not worried about getting the fans they just pissed off back. They're just going to be like, fuck it, we're going to do our best to create new ones. Because again, you got to understand the people who are running this now isn't like Vince McMahon. He doesn't know how to really cater to the audience as much as people claim is a detriment Vince is. He knew how to cater to the wrestling audience. He did it for 40 fucking years. So he did something right to where TKO, they're just trying to cater to whoever will fill their fucking pockets. And in terms of creating new fans, they're just thinking they could create new fans out the blue. This is kind of the WCW effect right now, hitting from when Turner took over before, Bischoff had a chance to do his thing.
But I don't
It's
think
like Jim Herd's making all the decisions.
Yeah, because I was gonna say Turner never really. I can't remember Turner ever getting involved in anything creative.
You weren't in the Jim Herd years. They did. It was before when Bischoff took over. That's when they kind of let Bischoff take the reins, because Bischoff was their guy, but Bischoff was also at the same time a wrestling guy, or a guy coming in from the wrestling business, not just a suit,
right?
Purely a suit. To where Jim Herd was more purely a suit and was trying to run WCW like a business and not like a wrestling company, to where Bischoff did a combination of both, and which helped lead to his success eventually, because he knew what worked and what didn't work in wrestling, a la bringing in Hulk Hogan, a la bringing in Nash and Hall and creating the Outsiders, then the NWO.
Wait, is this the NWO that was led by Disco Inferno, or...
Oh, God.
Am I remembering that correctly?
No, not yet. But I'm just saying, so, like, you just got to think of the effects of the bad booking decisions. I don't think Pat McAfee really is the problem, or is the crux of the real issue, because this is the second random person who's been involved in this fucking feud in 3 weeks. Or the third, I'm sorry. Because Jelly Roll, Stephanie, now this motherfucker. So it's like, if Dwayne gets involved at the end, this shit will be super convoluted. Like, why the fuck did we do all this? Yeah. But
see, I will still defend the Jelly Roll part of being involved, because I feel there's still a connective tissue to last year as being that angel on Randy's shoulder, and I guess now we see that Pat is the devil on his shoulder. So and the fact that Jelly Roll got that RKO and then he's basically out, I kind of can forgive that. It just doesn't make. Let's take out the fact that it came from above Triple H to put McAfee into this, because if you believe the stories that are being told by the wrestling media, this was a decision that was made by Ari before or around Elimination Chamber. So this whole thing was done that with them knowing it was going to be Pat McAfee revealed. So why are we having Pat McAfee talking about another royal, there's more than one royal family? That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Why would Pat be talking about other royal families in wrestling when he's not part of that?
Unless Rip Rogers adopted him out of nowhere and we all just don't know it.
I mean, the only other thing I could think of, because I have been thinking about it, is that he was just reminding Randy that he's an Orton and that he's part of a wrestling family. Not that Pat's trying to say that he's part of a wrestling family, but just that Randy does have that lineage, and he is a third generation. No, but again,
I think, like I said, the past 3 weeks of, or at least three, not segments, but kind of segments of this story, it's been unnecessarily people involvement doing unnecessary things to try to rehabilitate what the fuck they just did. They knew Randy was going to still somewhat be over when he turned heel, but they were hoping to right that shit. They're seeing Cody get the AEW treatment now. He's getting booed out the fucking building. Okay? Stephanie smacked him and she damn near got a babyface pop. Like, Jelly Roll got RKO'd. They all cheered, said, "Thank you, Randy, for RKOing that useless, semi-old fat fuck." That used to be fat fuck. I'm sorry. He lost a lot of weight. Let me give him that. He's under 300. And then...
I mean, in fairness, I think
And then now attaching McAfee to this to try to, take some heat off of Cody and put it onto McAfee and get some sympathy on Cody and try to get some more heat on Randy. It's not going to work because people like McAfee, too, as a person. I wouldn't say he's in the same status as Randy. I mean, they might boo him eventually. because I think Pat can lay into the prick role pretty well. He did it with the Adam Cole feud. But at the same time, I think the tides are turning against Cody. They're gonna have no choice but to turn him heel or just keep letting this motherfucker get booed out the building.
I mean, they did it with Cena for freaking a decade. They never turned Cena, and he was getting booed, and he was always getting, the worst reactions when the babyface shouldn't have been getting those reactions.
But the environment when Cena was around, when he was a top babyface, is a lot different now when the environment Cody's around. There was no one around to take the spot for Cena and take the reins off. You feel me? If Cena did turn heel, who's going to be the top babyface after Cena? There was no answer for that question. At least in this environment, you got quite a few answers to that question if Cody turned heel. You still got Punk, you got Roman, you got Jimmy. I'd say on the SmackDown side, you still got Oba. Brock is still kind of is a tweener, somewhat of a baby face. There's different things you can do in terms of where you can go after Cody and if he turns heel. And to where when Cena was babyface, there was no one really who could take over after that spot.
Also, did they really think that Randy was not going to get a positive reaction for RKOing Jelly Roll? I mean, you could have had the most dastardly heel out there, and I think they would have gotten the babyface pop for taking out Jelly Roll. So that's not really going to bring heat. But let's get Ace, Brendan Ace. We're just going to call him Ace so there's no confusion. He's got his hand up. What's up?
Brendan, you there?
I'm here.
There we go.
How's everyone doing today?
Good, good.
Not as pissed off as I was yesterday.
I mean, if you're pissed, wait, what happened on Saturday? You mad on Saturday?
I had to watch SmackDown.
I thought you watched it on Friday.
No, I don't. I have a new rule at wrestling. I don't watch anything the day of anymore, so I don't get as depressed or feel like I'm wasting my time. So if I watch it the day after, I can just walk away and wipe my hands with it.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I understand people are angry, but holy crap, I haven't seen people. But then again, I'm like, this is not the first time that I've seen WWE fans crashing out. Like, how many times we've seen this happen over and over? Like, I think like more times I can count. Because I've always said, if you don't like what WWE is doing right now, you can what? There's other options you can look at. You can look at AEW. You can look at New Japan. You can go other places and watch it. I'm just saying, you have other options. Like,
see, I think when it comes to wrestling fans and the other option argument, I feel like AEW is now having its second wind in terms of possibly being able to bring in new fans. That's a whole other conversation that we're going to have in a minute, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole yet. But in terms of the involvement thing and why people are upset about it is because they're trying to use the star power to keep people, not star power, but the celebrity notoriety and all these other names to build on the fact that they're running on lackluster creative right now. It's completely bad.
I mean, yes, but this is what WWE always want to be wanted. They wanted to be mainstream for the longest time. Like, at the end of the day, they want to be in the mainstream. They want to be looked as more than just pro wrestling. They want to be mainstream. They want to be like similar to the NFL, NBA, or NASCAR. They want to be looking like that.
I mean, they kind of are with having a relationship with ESPN right now. But in terms of, I'm just saying purely in why there's such a negative reaction, or why isn't WWE fans reacting the way WWE kind of wants to manipulate and trick their fans into reacting. And it's kind of just on the premise of people didn't want this. Again, Cody heel turn was kind of the way y'all should have went. And instead of going the right way, they decided to take their own path.
I also think to Ace's point, we're good. The IWC is going to react no matter what. And like he said, we've seen every time there's a creative decision that is not popular, there's a crash out on the IWC. This is no different, but I've been saying it for like pretty much all weekend. The IWC is not real life. So, you know, we have to see how it's going to be looked at in the arenas with the fans who are actually there. And the funny part is, but this is gonna blow over because there's gonna be something on Monday that's gonna happen that's gonna piss people off, and they're gonna forget all about Pat because that's just the cycle that it goes through.
No, but I'm again in terms of the conversation of it being just building towards Mania, the WrestleMania build this year. It this feud with Randy and Cody is kind of encapsulating why people aren't interested or why they can't get interested for the right reasons. Like I think Randy Orton in this feud has been doing great. Like, you know what I mean? He's doing what he's supposed to do.
Right.
Like I can't say anything about Randy. Cody's doing also kind of what he's supposed to do, but again, it's the same copy and paste booking in a Cody storyline every time. When they actually had all the things they needed, they didn't need to create any new shit or do any of this extra shit that they've been doing the past 3 weeks to build a Cody and Randy feud. Have they once even mentioned King of the Ring at all yet?
No, I don't think they brought
No.
up King of the Ring once.
Also, also I feel like
real quick.
also.
Look, just
Yeah,
give me one
I'm
second.
just
I'll hand it right to you. Like that's what I'm saying though. They just faced each other back in when was King of the Ring? May.
Well, it led to SummerSlam, so yeah, I think it was June.
So it was May or June. They just faced each other in June. They had a big match. They couldn't reference anything about Randy being jealous or Randy thinking, his time is passing by because the guy that he brought into the business pretty much, not really, but as far as people know, that's the narrative. Why don't they tell that fucking story? It's a simple story. Instead, they're going the complete wrong way. They're making shit up on the fly. They're trying to get shit to stick. They're trying to use outside star power and interference to get people interested in this shit. This WrestleMania card right now is a 2-match card. Roman and Punk, Oba and Brock. That's it.
Right.
And maybe people might stay for fucking Stephanie versus Liv.
Hold up. That
Wait.
Intercontinental match is probably gonna be looking good.
The 5-way?
Yes.
No.
And Trick and Sammy is interesting. I mean, Trick is over like a motherfucker.
I think the Trick and Sammy, people will be there to watch Trick, but nobody gives a fuck that Sammy is the U.S. champ. The Sami Zayn train is gone. And as far as the 5-way, I don't see them taking the belt off of Penta in a 5-way match.
I do, because they've been pushing Javon Evans, and I do think Javon is probably the favorite to win that belt because he didn't really win, because that will literally be his first title in WWE. He didn't win one in NXT, so I think Javon is the most likely to win. So I think Penta can retain, yes, but I think how they're pushing Javon and giving him a spotlight, and he's getting over with the crowd. I'm like, he might be the favorite to win at WrestleMania.
He's gonna definitely have that Jeff Hardy bump. That's gonna be like you're gonna see like in the packages for years to come. He's definitely gonna do one of those crazy
Yep.
off the ladder while someone's hanging into a cutter type deal. But they've also, in the last couple of years, they've done the thing where they've put the Intercontinental Champion in a multi-man match just so they get the title off of him without beating him. So it's very possible they're going to get the title off of Penta and doing it this way where he's not losing because it's a ladder match, so he's not getting pinned. And so he could drop the title because I think they are going to shift to the Lucha Brothers after WrestleMania. They want to do it in AAA first, and then I think we're finally going to see it on the main roster. On top of that, I had just lost my thought. Damn it. Oh yeah, my question to you, DJ, is: do you feel, assuming that they had their hands tied because they knew they had to put Pat McAfee into this angle and this storyline, do you feel that might be a reason why the creative for the Cody and Randy stuff has basically been non-existent because they knew that no matter what they did with step 1, 2, 3, and 4, by step 5, they would have to change it because of Pat McAfee?
No, I think it's because of the inept writing team and creative brain trust they put together in WWE right now. I think they need to fire everybody. I think they're bringing in too many people with writer backgrounds and not enough people with wrestling backgrounds. And you can tell with how just a lot of this shit has been thrown together. And Rhea and Jade is a prime example. Randy and Cody. Liv and Stephanie's had its moments, but it's also had its moments. The Finn and Dom, nobody gives a shit about that anymore now. Which was supposed to be one of the more anticipated feuds. Like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but other than we just should fire the creative team, give Triple H a slightly new and better creative team, and if he can't do anything better with that, guess who's in the hot seat? Because creatively, the brain trust there is just not working right now. It's mainly due to they got complacent. They had such a widened gap and such a big lead over AEW. They had no real competition on their ass, so they had no need to put in no real effort. And now, again, 2 weeks away to their biggest show, they're just building half the fucking card. And we're like I said, I think WWE creatively and in terms of attendance are in a spot of desperation that we've never seen them in before. And I don't know if it's because of the WWE side or the TKO side not feeling like they're not getting a big enough return on their investment because they paid $21 billion for this giant conglomerate.
Yeah, but they also made $1.7 billion in profit last year. So I feel they are getting, what they want, their money back. And, so I don't think it's...
Maybe not at the rate they were expecting it, though. You know what I mean? In TK, we don't know what their projection was when they bought the company, what rate they were going at. They did buy it like when it was somewhat at its hottest. It's kind of like how back in the old days when they bought a territory, someone would hotshot a territory, or for example, the Fullers would hotshot a territory, fucking sell it to someone, get off with their money, buy another territory, and that other territory that they just sold would fucking crash, and the person who bought it would be like, yo, this shit was just hot a second ago, what the fuck happened?
It's like flipping a house. You buy a house, you put it together, you sell it for more, and then you move on to the next house. Let's get to Zeus. Zeus has his hand up, so it's nice to have Zeus in the space. What's up, Zeus?
How's it going, fellas? Yeah, I just wanted to, I've talked about Pat McAfee for longer than I've ever wanted to. So I heard you were talking about the ladder match, and I just got off talking with Sam. Do you guys think this is a really good opportunity, this WrestleMania, to really elevate your three newest stars? Having, for example, Javon win the IC title, Oba beat Brock, Trick win the US title. Do you think that's what they're going to do? Do you think that's what they're going to do? I hope they do.
I think the Brock Oba one is the biggest question mark because we don't know. I think Oba's going to be elevated even if he doesn't win the match. It's going to be a case of getting over versus going over. And I think Oba's already over, more so because of the whole Brock storyline. So, I think Oba's fine in that regard. Whether Javon wins the IC title or not is, that's in the air. But again, I think this is going to be the perfect match to highlight him, again, to help him get more over than he already is, because he's already starting to get, like I put it up to like a Jeff Hardy. He's getting that like kind of Jeff Hardy reactions and doing those Jeff Hardy spots, and I expect there to be like a highlight of what he does, and that's going to help him get more over. And obviously, I don't know how much more over you can get being Trick Williams. You know, the guy's freaking insanely over. He's getting the spin around for the entrance. He's now playing it up to the crowd. So I think we're actually going to see a double turn with Sammy. And I think Trick's going to come out of there not only a U.S. champion, but a huge babyface.
Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna state this for everyone in the IWC, for all my keyboard warriors out here. If Triple H if he pins one black person on that card, he's racist. I'm just
Only
kidding.
towards men, only towards men.
But no, on a serious note, I kind of agree with your thought, Zeus, a bit, that, you know, it would be a big deal if he got those guys, not only got those guys more over on Mania, but put them over on the grandest stage of them all, showing that it's a, you know, a different regime, it's a different time, anyone can thrive here. It'd be nicer if, you know, there was a Royce Keys on the card too that can get a big, nice, chunky win after debuting on the fucking Rumble, but that's neither here or there.
SmackDown after Mania, baby.
Yeah, okay. But
put the trigger on him. Not now.
But no, as far as that thought though, I think Oba beating Brock would be huge. Him having the match with Brock in general though is big enough. Javon winning the IC title could be a big story, but I think they have a chance to redo the Sami Zayn underdog story with Javon, to where you give him a couple years, you know, have him lose a couple big title matches. Don't let him win any little ones. But so when he wins the big one, kind of like how when Cody came back and won his big one, it meant a lot more.
I can't see anyone else in that. I can't see anyone else in that ladder match who would just be, you know, a good choice as the IC champion. Because Rusev's not winning it. JD McDonough's not winning it.
Dragon Lee's not winning either.
I don't really see Dragon Lee winning it either. Yeah, so I think that Javon would be, you know, the right choice there, just to kind of. Because also it was like. We talked about, you know, wrestlers are getting old. You know, Dylan said that a few times. You know, and it's time to start stop talking about these new talent you have and start making some stars. And I think it could definitely start at Mania.
See, I think just Penta's retaining unless they have a plan to reunite the Lucha Bros after Mania.
Well, it's basically a two-man race. I think we could all agree that it's either going to be Javon or Penta in that ladder match.
That's another thing they've missed a huge opportunity on. Instead of just let's randomly put the belts on the division, why not keep the Usos out of the Vision drama and start them up? Just put up a dream match between Penta and Rey Fenix versus the Usos for the tag titles.
I wanted that since January. I wanted the New Day in there as well as a ladder match.
I really thought I said months ago, I really thought that's what they were going to do for Mania. And then, you know, then we got the shoulder injury, which derailed the Lucha Brothers reuniting in AAA. Because, you know, I always felt they wanted to do that in AAA first. So I think maybe that pushed it. But, you know, at that, and then once Penta won the Intercontinental title, I was like, okay, well, that's out the door because they're not going to put the IC title on him just to reunite into a tag team. So, did anyone see what Coach had to say about the McAfee stuff on yesterday morning? Long story short, he basically was under the impression that there were plans for almost a restart of creative that he felt was pushed up by a couple of weeks, and that was what led into the Pat McAfee talking about how the Attitude Era needs to come back, that type of stuff. And we were going to see kind of a shift in, I guess, philosophy for WWE in general. So I'm just curious what people's thoughts on what Coach said, if you saw it, and how you feel about that possibility. Zeus, you got your hand. Zeus, you got your hand up, so you could go for it.
I think if this is their plan to kind of reshape creative, then I think it's safe to say it's not off to a hot start. Um, I don't really understand. I guess I still don't understand Pat McAfee's promo. I mean, the promo didn't really make sense, and a lot of us have been wanting some adjustments to the product, not necessarily the Attitude Era, but just to kind of be a bit less safe. But every time we kind of get an inkling of that, it just remains the same. And I don't really have any confidence in this particular angle being the catalyst to change anything. I'm happily be proven wrong and pleasantly surprised, but I just don't really have any faith. And I feel, if anything, I feel worse about the future than I did before the segment happened.
No, I pretty much agree with everything Zeus said and feel pretty much the same. Like, I get what the point you're trying to say, but like, in terms of a creative reset, the time to kind of do a semi-soft reset would have been around Rumble time, where you could have built new feuds, started a new chapter. Then you'd have 2.5 months till your biggest show to really tell some stories and get things into position. They knew about certain injuries beforehand. It's not like Braun Breaker didn't get injured before Rumble, or it was right at Rumble. I'm sorry, right after Rumble. It was the Raw after. But like, it's not like they didn't know Seth was injured. You got to plan for these things, and I don't know.
Right, but if you're gonna do that kind of change, it's gonna be after WrestleMania, simply because that's kind of like, the season finale. Even though there's really no seasons, but that's like the end of the calendar year, and then you're starting over new. I mean, we saw it at WrestleMania 14. Once Stone Cold won the title, that was when it really kicked into the next year that led to the Attitude Era. So I don't think that if you're going to start a new philosophy and how you're going to present your product, you do it 2 months before Mania. It's something you would start after Mania.
No, I agree. Or instead of doing it during the build to Mania, I'm just saying,
Right.
if we have two alternatives, after or before, I'd rather get it started beforehand towards your biggest show. Especially if you're trying to build some interest and get some intrigue and try to do some things differently. After would be kind of a detriment to WrestleMania, and just say, all right, WrestleMania is on its own. But hold on, I see Herm has his hand up. What's up, Herm?
Yeah, both of you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, if they're going to do a shift in any kind of philosophy, it'll be a post-Mania. And as we saw, if other than me, if anyone else watched Stand and Deliver, which if you haven't, I am going to recommend that you do. It's probably one of the best shows that NXT's had.
We're going to review it in a bit.
It's a great show.
Okay. Okay, so I jumped ahead of myself here, but if you watch that,
No, you're good.
there were many matches where you just saw like the beginnings of it and stuff. I'll tell you right now, JC Jane's match, they had that whole package for her. I'm like, this is a fucking graduation ceremony at this point. I mean, we pretty much know that post WrestleMania she's showing up on Raw or SmackDown.
I mean, it's either that or you're releasing her. It's been 6 years.
No, I'm telling you right now, Brandon, that woman during this run, she has picked up a lot of new fans along the way. Because think about it, when she first came in, she was kind of in the background. She wasn't supposed to be, the top star. It was supposed to be Mandy Rose, or it was supposed to be Gigi. But even when she got in the Fatal Influence, no, it was supposed to be Fallon. Yeah, proved them all wrong. She broke out. She put in the work, busted her ass.
I think it'll be all three of them going up. I don't think JC's going by herself. I think she needs the other. I know Zeus has brought this up. I think she needs to have, those people to play off of it. Plus, SmackDown could use a female faction that like is legit, not just thrown together as an angle for Mania, like with Jay Cargill.
I'll be honest with you right now about SmackDown. I think putting them there would be like just fucking putting somebody in purgatory at this point, because that women's division is just total shit.
That's why you need bodies. That's why you need names and bodies, though. You got to try to build it up. You're going to put her on Raw. They're going to be not buried. I don't want to use the word buried, but they're going to be, overshadowed by the bigger names, Rhea and Io. at least on SmackDown, it's going to give them the chance to have the airtime to build themselves up. Just like we saw, 15, 20 years ago, they would, when they graduated people from ECW onto SmackDown, the Sheamuses, the Ryback, the freaking, I can't remember his name, but you use that to start to build up these people, and SmackDown just has no women. So I think anyone who's being called up from NXT should be going to SmackDown.
Well, I also think too that maybe what they should do is take some of the women from Raw and move them over. Like I'll give you an example: Bailey, Lyra. You can move them over to SmackDown. They would do quite well.
I agree on that one, but in terms of like, we're gonna kind of just segue to this shit now because I already got this shit on my mind.
Yeah, I just was going with it. And I figured that's what we're doing. So
yeah, I'm just gonna go to this shit now. So Stand and Deliver was last night. Herm already brought up the first match, the women's three-way. I thought, so first of all, Kendall Gray, I'm just gonna say off rip. I'm saying this not just because of her style. I'm saying with how natural she is in the ring with it. She is Kurt Angle-esque. Young Kurt Angle.
the way she's picking it up so fast. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
She's just a natural with it. The way she works, the way she makes it look real, and she's smooth with it. She is so fucking good. Again, a female prodigy. If there's a female version of Braun Breaker, this bitch is it. She will be a women's main event.
And I had
at
no
some point in her career.
And I had no problem with her not winning the title.
Same. It's
Because-
too early.
Because
It's too early, but it was the perfect. It was the perfect place to give her a perfect showing,
right.
and to make her stand out.
Because first off, I think everyone knew JC Jane was not walking out with the title. Everyone knew this was basically, like Herm said, it's her graduation, it's her goodbye, all that. Lola is probably going to be on the main roster by late 26, early 27. So you give her a run with the title before moving her to the main roster. Kendall has time. She's going to be down in NXT for the next couple of years. So you could have her being that babyface that's chasing the title, the underdog babyface, till you get towards the end of the year, till she gets finally gets that big win. So I think it definitely was smart to put it on Lola at this time. Lola's getting over between her work in AAA and now NXT. And it's so funny because Lola was someone you thought was like, oh God, they're bringing someone in from MMA who was never going to, make it. And, she busted her ass.
No, I thought she was going to make it. Because unlike everyone else they brought over from MMA, she actually has a fucking look. To where all the other women are kind of tomboyish and brooding and, I'm going to eat you. Like, I'm sorry, the most fuckable one out of all the MMA women they brought in was Ronda Rousey, okay? And that says a lot. But, like, to make the point with the match, though, I thought this was as good as the match I saw last week. I think it was last week when it was Kendall and Lola.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
That was Tuesday. Yes. Yeah, Tuesday last week, though, right?
No,
No,
4 days,
this Tuesday.
like 4 days ago.
They'll do it this Tuesday.
It's Sunday now. It's the beginning of a new week, so technically it's fucking last week.
Sure, DJ. I'm going to give that to you the way you're going to give Jet some points because he's going to need them. But go on.
Oh, God damn it. Don't say his name 3 times, he'll fucking appear like Beetlejuice. But, no.
Jack.
Oh, my God. But, no, I thought they all worked great. This was as good as the last match I saw with Kendall. They all did great. It seemed like a fucking contest. They worked like it was a pay-per-view style match. They had a clear baby face, clear heel, clear kind of, tweener. Because Lola was kind of tweener in between when she was working with Kendall. And, yeah, no, I was into this match. I didn't hate the finish. I didn't think JC was going to win. I thought it was too early for Kendall to win. And the way they did it was the perfect out.
And they did protect Kendall because she wasn't pinned.
She wasn't pinned at all.
Yeah, let's get some hands We'll go. Let's start with Zeus, and then we'll go to Corey, Herm, and then Dylan. You there, Zeus?
Yeah, sorry.
All
Yeah, I thought Stand and Deliver was a good show. Despite the build being a little bit rocky, a lot of it was kind of, built very late. But I still thought it was a very strong show. The women's triple threat, I thought was the best match on the night. I kind of thought Kendall was going to win, and it's not because of anything more than I thought Lola was going to get caught up as well. But I've got no problem with Lola winning, and I do agree with DJ that I think Kendall definitely has the potential to be the best wrestler women's wise in that company easily.
I mean, if Dave Meltzer says it, there's got to be credibility to it. So
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I just hope that coming out of it, she's nailed the wrestling part. I hope we get to see more about who she is. I hope we get to see more kind of character escalation from her. Maybe some stuff with Ren, just to kind of dip her feet in the water of that kind of stuff, just to kind of really round her out. But yeah, she's going to be absolutely incredible.
Zeus, do you see their TikToks they make?
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday. So there's definitely personality there. I agree.
And Ren is fucking great as well. Ren is really underrated.
Right.
Even as a wrestler, Ren is really good.
I think they need to lean more into the personality to get Kendall even more over. So she definitely has it.
One thing I was disappointed about the Stand and Deliver was actually Soul and Zarya. I don't think.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I was going to go match by match.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it, yeah.
All right,
No, you're good. No, I agree though. Like I said, Kendall is Kurt Angle-esque in terms of if you watch early Kurt Angle when he first started in wrestling, you can see how much of a natural he was for it, like how quick he got it, and how it's not even how quick he got it, it's how good and quick he got at it. Like it didn't take him years to become a top guy. It took him fucking months. Like that's almost unprecedented for a guy like Kurt Angle to do. Not only that, to translate professional wrestling at the Olympic level into professional wrestling in general. And she has a lot of those same qualities, even though she's not like a gold medalist or anything. It's just she's getting it quicker than most girls would. Like girls who've been at this for fucking years don't get it this fast.
When she did that suplex sequence, that was so awesome, man. That reminded me of Kurt, Brock, just
with the one leg takeovers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
like
what I'm saying.
Ken Shamrock, all there. Yeah, absolute beast.
I think part of her not winning also is that I believe she's part of this new LFG season. So I'm wondering if they didn't put the title on her for that as well.
Yeah, Gina mentioned that.
Yeah. Let's get Corey. He's got his hand up. What's up, Corey?
I'm really disappointed. You guys are talking about Kendall Gray and Pat McAfee. Nobody's talking about that NWA show last night. Come on, guys. What are we doing?
I thought NWA wasn't making records anymore.
Thank God for NWA.
Dude, it's the most prestigious belt in all of wrestling. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, you mean the belt that Shane Douglas threw in the garbage?
Well,
that belt?
That's been 30 years ago, so you can't mention that or you're old. That doesn't count anymore.
Oh, I'm old? No fucking shit, I'm old. I'm almost 50 years old. What the fuck you want to make out of it, man?
From you.
Dan Brennan, how does it feel to know that someone's younger than you in the chat?
Actually, they're the same age as me.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know.
I talked to Mr. Belvedere reference on him yesterday. That was pretty funny. I think me and Brandon were the only ones that got it because we were born in the 18th century.
All right.
Hey, I was born when the country got founded. What are you talking about?
All right, hold on. So whose hand was next after Corey and his side tangent?
Dylan.
All right, go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I thought the three-way women's match was fantastic. I'm really high on Kendall Gray, like you guys are. I really, and I was thinking in my head, a lot of people wanted Kendall to win. I thought Lola Bliss was going to win because I kind of knew they were going to give it to her because it was her time to run the women's division down in NXT. The way that they were kind of like telling the story on television with her for a little while. But man, I think JC Jane, JC's probably gonna head to the main roster. I'll tell you what, man, JC Jane in the last 5 years that I've seen her, she's worked her ass off down in NXT for a very long time, and she's proved to a lot of people that she could be a women's world champion on the main roster. You know, but my line of thinking is, I want to ask you guys this question too. Does she go up by herself, or does she get called up with the rest of Fatal Influence with her? What do you guys think?
She's definitely needs, like I just said before, I feel if they bring her up by herself, then, she's going to get lost. I think SmackDown could use, that bad girl esque type group, or mean girl, I should say, type group. And I think it would be best for, I also think the other two girls are going to get lost in NXT without being part of it. But I do have a question. Dylan, do you think they're going to turn Kendall heel?
Yeah, I think she'll be a great heel. I think she will. Yeah, 100%. Like, down the line, I think she will be, But yeah, so Brandon, do you think that they would put JC in Judgment Day? Or no, you don't think so?
Well, seeing that Judgment Day is on Raw and we're talking about them going to SmackDown, no.
And also, WWE Real One is a piece of crap, brother.
Interesting, but yeah, I think JC Jane's going to be a women's world champion on the main roster if they play their cards right and they don't mess up with her creatively, because she's a star in my opinion. So,
All right, though.
All right, let's go to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Brandon Ace has been waiting with his hand up.
Oh yeah. When it comes to the women's triple threat match, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Very surprised that Lola Vice won the women's NXT title, but I ain't mad at it because she's put in the work over the past, I think, how long has she been in NXT? I think 3 or 4 years.
Who, Lola?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 3 years.
And you definitely see the improvement. I mean, she has the tools. She's good in the ring. She has the charisma, and her promos are a lot more better. And Kendall Gray, like, she has time. Like, she ain't gonna be called up for at least maybe give it like, I would say somewhere between 2027 or 2028 by that time. So they got time with her. Because I do think Lola Vice will probably hold on to the title for like at least, I would say, give it at least a 4, maybe 3.5 month reign before dropping it, because I do think she's going to get called up soon. When it comes to JC Jane, I do think she get called up soon, but I do think you got to bring her up along with the rest of the group in Fatal Attraction on SmackDown, because at some point you have women like Kieva Jordan, JC Jane, and a lot others that help. So Ruka, that can really be a big asset for SmackDown in that women's division. Like, that can really help build up your women's. That can really help build up the women's United States title, because you'll have contenders, and it will also help Juvia with some future opponents. Like, I would like to see Juvia versus JC Jane, or a Kalani Jordan, or a Soruka, because I think those would be damn good matches. Like, because if you look at over on Raw, it's like you kind of see that the women's Intercontinental title, at least it's being built up. You barely see anyone getting built up for the women's U.S. title, and it's like, how come one title is being treated better and the other isn't? I'm like, this is just crazy, in my opinion.
Fuck, I forgot where the fucking conversation started.
We were talking about the three-way between JC, Lola, and Kendall.
Go. All right, my bad. Brandon went on so far of a tangent. I was like, where are we going on this? Okay.
Well, his
My
tangent,
bad.
what in in his defense, his tangent did involve the women.
It did involve, but I'm hearing SmackDown shit, and I'm just dozing off.
Look, I'm just saying you have women down in NXT that's been there for a bit longer than they should, and SmackDown could use some women, especially build up that Women's United States title division. Like over on Raw, at least they're building up the Women's Intercontinental division. I have barely seen the U.S. title being
Not
built
really.
like
You
that.
haven't seen the champion on TV in 3 weeks.
But at least it has a legacy. Shit, the U.S. title barely has it. That barely has any. At least when you look at which women's mid card title you think looks better, has the better legacy, the Women's United States or the Women's Intercontinental? It's pretty easy to say that the Women's Intercontinental title has the better legacy at the moment than the Women's U.S. title.
I mean, that's kind of like being the nicest guy in prison.
But I'm just saying, you gotta build up that Women's U.S. title division, and you have women down at NXT that you can call up that can help.
I don't know. They got to get rid of belts instead of worried about building up certain ones first. Because they got a women's tag division and 2 mid-card divisions and 2 main divisions, and they don't have enough women for all of that in general. There's not enough talented women in wrestling.
They do.
For them to have
Like,
that many.
They're just not using them.
But, hold on. Let's get to the next match, because I don't want this stand and deliver shit to take too long. The next match was the tag match. Was Vanity Project versus the Americanos. So I really like this match. And it's really hard to get into WWE tag matches sometimes, but this match was a rare exception because they had an obvious babyface tag team and an obvious heel tag team and an obvious team you wanted to cheer for, even though it was a heel versus heel. In reality, it was heel versus heel, but they portrayed it in the ring of obvious babyface, one obvious heel. The Americanos were over as baby faces. The other guys were the heels. They were cheering when the baby faces were cheating. Like I said, I got into this match. I didn't really judge it too much. It's really rare I get into a tag match with WWE. So I thought this was really entertaining and good. I thought this was a really good finish to fuck the good heels out of the belts and keep it on the bad heels to give them more heat. And yeah.
Yeah, this was, I think this was the AAA version of the Americanos, because they're the baby faces in AAA. But, in reality, putting, Vanity Project in there with seasoned veterans like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate is really good for, for those young guys. And
Tyler Bate is really good. Pete Dunne is excellent as well, even though he's pasty white as fuck. He's almost like Sheamus White. I'm noticing that.
Yeah, but it's really good to have when you have those veterans who can, help guide younger kids to, the right way. Those player coaches, which are so important, which I think other places are missing, having those player coaches in a lot of spots. So, and that's basically what the Americanos are at this point when it comes to NXT and AAA is, they're these player coaches, just like Sean Spears. So, I think if it was Hank and Tank or Dark State, the tag match would not have been as good. But because we had 2 guys against Vanity Project who were just so damn good, they were able to pull some good shit out of these young kids.
No, like I said, the first 2 opening matches were fucking solid and great. And they were both multi-man matches, and they both pulled them off to perfection pretty much. And like I said, it's hard for me to get into tag teams. I didn't like these heels. I loved these baby faces. The Americanos do the lucha style pretty good for white guys. White European guys, no less.
Right, white British guys.
So you know what I mean. So they're pretty fucking good at what they do. And Vanity Project as heel, they worked good as a good heel tag team. It looked like I was watching an old school WCW or Mid South match. That's the shit I like to watch. The tag ins, takeovers, let's get some heat. Shine the baby faces, cut them off, give them some hope spots. They didn't overstay their welcome like most modern tag team matches do. And they didn't insult the referee. They didn't do too much bullshit. It's not like the referee was, buried as an official. Like how Rick Knox doesn't mean shit in the world of AEW. He's just there to count the fucking pin.
You just mad because there wasn't no Canadian destroyers or super kicks.
No, why would I be mad at a match I said was really good?
I think Ace was actually mocking, the Young Bucks there, but
Okay. No, I thought he was seriously saying that.
No, he because you mentioned Rick Knox, so he was talking about Canadian destroyers.
Rick Knox sucks.
Yeah, but he was talking about
Rick Knox's only job in life is to count to 3. That's it.
For the Young
He
Bucks.
does nothing else in a match.
Isn't that any referee?
No.
Disqualify someone. Fucking send someone out the ring. Fucking stop interfering. Something. Show that you have some sort of power. That's the point of the referee.
Aubrey does that.
Aubrey does it to a fucking over-exaggerated extent to where you can't believe a fucking thing she does. No referee in any sport would act like Aubrey Ed while calling a football game or calling a basketball game or calling a soccer game or calling a UFC fight.
You know who she reminds me of in the way that she referees? Hildebrand. Remember from WCW? Mark Curtis. That was his name in WCW. Mark Curtis was very animated.
Animated, yes.
And Aubrey tries to do the same thing when she hits 2 and then she'll throw both hands up in the air like she's, Tricky Dick and putting the 2s up and So I think it's very Mark Curtis like, and it takes away from not only the match but the people in the match. But we're getting off a tangent about AEW. Let's get back on track. Herm, what did you think of the tag match?
Hey, I thought the tag match was great. I thought one of the best spots, and it was kind of funny, was when Pete Dunne, which I think he's Rayo in the group, he was in there with Brad Baylor, and Brad Baylor did the finger spot on Pete Dunne.
Yeah, I seen that. Yes.
I cracked up on that one. That was funny as hell. But, the thing with the Vanity Project, don't sell these young guys short. I mean, they're barely old enough to buy cigarettes, if they're old enough to do that at all. And I think you put like a few more years on these kids, they stop looking like, the Disney Channel characters, and they start looking like people that are actually kind of like, more grizzled into this business. They get maybe a little more of a mean streak to them, a little more root.
Well, just eventually they'll grow some hair on their faces, and they might be able to do that.
I was gonna say, I think they need to get out of the high school jock look.
I like how Vic Joseph.
Isn't that their gimmick?
Yeah, but I like that Vic Joseph called, like, I don't know which one it was, but one of them the evil Matt Dillon. I guess because he looks like Matt Damon, because he looks like that. So Enrique, what's up? You got your hand up.
Yeah, I think my main problem with the Vanity Project, first of all, is that I cannot know which one is which, mainly because, one, they have such generic names, and they all look the same, gay high school kids. It's, no offense to actual gay high school kids, but that's just how they look. They look exactly the same. They don't have different gimmicks one of another. They're just exactly the same character, with the exact same looks and the exact same heights. I know they cannot do anything about their heights, but they can do something to differentiate one of another.
I mean, I guess Enrique is just saying that they look so similar that they don't really have personalities of their own. So you really can't, you basically can't differentiate between one and the other. So I kind of get that, but I think that also, in time will develop. But right now they're doing the frat boy thing, so I think it's okay. So, but I guess we'll move on from the tag match, and I guess what was next? Was it
Soul and Zarya.
It was so. That was before. Okay, yeah, we'll go Soul and Zarya. Do you?
Oh, that was after the tag match.
All right. I thought it was a decent match. I think it ended up being that it came down to Zarya getting too emotional and making a mistake that Soul was able to capitalize on. I felt that if Soul is going up, she should not have won it. But then I'm also at the point is like they were talking about like her going for the title and stuff. So now it's like, is she even going up right now? So I mean, where does Zarya go from here if they're like moving past it already?
Yeah, that I thought the match itself up to the finish was really good and great. Not good and great, but good to great. And then the finish happened. I didn't think Soul should have won because all Zarya does is lose.
Wait,
I'm sorry, that's the perception.
Right? Did you have an issue with the actual finish of the match or just the winner?
The winner.
All right, so not the actual way it finished. Okay.
I hated the result.
Okay.
Like, I definitely don't think Zarya should have taken the L here. If you're trying to give her any sort of credibility ever, she needed to beat Soul. Soul could have definitely ate a loss at this point. It wouldn't have damaged her whatsoever. You can build to another match, but I think this is the second time Soul's beaten her. So this is done and over with.
It's actually the first time.
Oh, it is the first time? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
'cause
Actually, she.
what I'm thinking of is when she cost her the belt. That's what I'm thinking.
what
I
belt?
think that they should have another match with stipulation, and Zarya should win.
That's what I'm thinking, because Soul has a match against Izzy Dane. I'm thinking Zarya cost Soul, and then you do the rematch with stipulation.
But I feel like that's kind of working backwards. It should be that the heel beat the baby face clean. So, well, actually, never mind. I might be overthinking it.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree with you because
if you
I
think,
didn't want Soul to win. I wanted Zarya to win.
I mean, if
I
you
didn't think Soul needed this win.
you're doing what Jameer says, you have Zarya come for revenge, costing Soul the match, and you build up to maybe a loser leaves NXT match, and then you could have Zarya beat her to send her to the main roster.
And that kind of still leaves Zarya twisting in the wind after.
Well, then you got to
Like,
really start to build her up.
NXT champion, you got to start building challengers for her. Zarya beating Sol Ruka would put her immediately in that conversation right now.
Right, but if you're going to lead to the like a loser leave stipulation to get Soul to the main roster, then you could still put Zarya in that conversation because she literally sent Soul out of NXT.
And didn't Zarya say during her promo with Soul, as long as she's still here, she will never go and feel more confident as long as Soul's still in NXT?
So I think there's definitely wiggle room. I do agree that Zarya should have won the match because Soul is kind of really a bit of Teflon right now in NXT. So taking a loss would not have affected or hurt her at all. But if we're leading into something to a bigger stipulation, we got to give a reason why the heel wants to come back for another match.
I guess. Anyone else got comments on this before I go to the next one? All right, cool. Hold on, I've lost my.
I think it was what Miles Bourne and Gargano was next.
Yeah, it was Bourne and Gargano. There we go.
Match.
So this is where it kind of started to go downhill for me a bit. It's not that I dislike Miles Bourne. It's that Gargano's is the shits now. It's Gargano kind of follows the Orange Cassidy principle now. We've seen the joke fucking 8 years in a row. It hasn't changed. It's the same thing all the time. He kicks out a fucking. He's the fucking master debater and founder of I kick out of fucking everything. Matt Jackson got nothing on this motherfucker. But yeah, this is where I lost interest. I it's not that I didn't like this match, I just didn't care. And Gargano went on to prove me right to not why I don't care.
Johnny,
Those are the nice things I have to say about the match.
I mean, the match was what it was. It wasn't a pay-per-view quality, PLE quality, whatever match. It could have been done on, any other Tuesday.
This should have been done on TNA.
What the point was to do this match, I don't know. If I would think that the whole point of doing this was going to attach to the character that we see on SmackDown. But, he basically lost clean. It really didn't do anything. I don't think it helped Miles Bourne at all. He beats Gargano, and then Gargano just disappears, and we're moving on to the next program with Dion Lennox. So, what was the point of even using Gargano? You have so many people in NXT that you could have put in this spot and give the shine to that Gargano didn't need. It wasn't like it pulled Gargano out of this, planking, depressed character he's been doing. So
it's because Triple H has to justify giving this motherfucker a paycheck. That's why. He doesn't draw a single fucking thing. Nobody buys his merchandise. Nobody asks for any fucking Johnny Gargano meet and greets. Nobody's out here wanting his autograph by the dozens. Nobody's asking for Johnny Gargano interviews. None of that shit. He's not a moneymaker. There's no justification in anyone's mind why this motherfucker still has a job. Other than Triple H loves him like a son and will do anything for Johnny Gargano.
Listen, if Apollo Crews still has a job, anyone could have a job.
Apollo Crews at least has some value. You could draw something. At least I think so. You could draw more than Gargano. I could definitely say that with for sure certainty. Let's send Gargano to AEW with fucking Ciampa so they can have their fucking jerk off fest with fucking FTR and the Bucks. Let's just send him on his way, Trips. He's not gonna hurt anything. He's not gonna generate a fucking dime. He might fucking draw a house in Cleveland, but that's it.
At this point, I don't think he would. This isn't Punk in Chicago at all. So let's not get that twisted.
I mean, I think they love Gargano there more than they love The Miz.
Which is funny because when he returned from that sabbatical a few years ago, he returned in Toronto instead of the week before in Cleveland. So, Enrique, what do you got as far as Miles Bourne and Gargano?
Well, thank you. I know it was the right decision of Miles winning, and I know Gargano was never going to win, but I was a huge NXT Black and Gold fan, and you know that never dies, and you just have that hope of maybe they will treat him right, maybe he will win. I knew, like, my brains knew he wasn't gonna win, but I just didn't want to believe. It's like Finn Balor with the World Heavyweight Championship matches, and you just have that hope, and it never happens. I think that Gargano's currently a jobber, not because he doesn't have any charisma, but because of his booking with Vince McMahon. When he was called to the main roster, he was incredibly over. If you see Elimination Chamber, I think was 2023. for the United States Championship match, the whole crowd was chanting Johnny Wrestling because Gargano was over. Everybody loved him. But Vince just saw a 5'10" guy, you know, he just saw a jobber. He didn't see one of the best wrestlers in ring in the whole world. A guy who had the best NXT match ever with Andrade. One of the first 5-star match by Dave Meltzer since Punk versus John Cena. But that's my problem. That was one of my problems with Vince McMahon. He never cared about it. And when you are being treated like a jobber in your company and just take it, people will start seeing you as a jobber, and the new fans will see you as nothing more than a jobber. But when he got called out, he could draw, and he was over, and people bought his merch. I think he could have been a very big star if given the chance.
I mean, I would have. If he should have come out to Rebel Heart to at least get out of this planking, depressed character. It just was a waste of time. So I think we've wasted enough time talking about it. So we can move on to, I believe it was the North American title match.
Yeah, Blake versus Tatum. Blake versus Tatum. I mean, I think so. My issue with this match, and it really isn't an issue with this match. I think the triple threat gave me such high expectations and blew my proverbial load too early to where I really didn't get into this match. It wasn't bad. They didn't do anything like bad or offensive. It just, wasn't as good as the triple threat, and I wasn't as invested into this as the people as I was invested to in the triple threat. I love Tatum, right winner. She's over. She looks great. Blake, I think her losing makes more sense because I think she needs to be in the main event picture instead of playing in the mid card. She already won the belt. She needs to kind of move up in life. So I think this was the right decision. And yeah, that's basically my quick thoughts on the match.
I think Blake her booking has been a product of the fact that they've had a heel women's world champion, and you really can't put her into that title picture because WWE doesn't like to do heel versus heels. I'm hoping her booking starts to improve, that we have a babyface champion. Otherwise, I mean, her booking hasn't been doing her any favors. She's taken a lot of losses that she really shouldn't be losing. So I'm hoping, because, like I said, it was a heel champion for so long, that, she is going to start to move up and they are going to start utilizing her correctly. Otherwise, I don't know what you're doing with Blake in NXT. Let's just get her on the main roster at this point.
Yeah, I agree with those thoughts pretty much.
The match was what it was. There was, nothing wrong with it. They weren't going to pull the title off of Tatum, so fast again, like they did last time. So it was the right winner, but I just feel Blake shouldn't have been in this spot to begin with because she doesn't need to be taking losses.
No, see, that's where I disagree. I don't think her taking losses hurt her character. She's supposed to be, the bitchy heel. She's kind of like the blonde, pretty version of Chelsea Green, if that makes sense. Like, she's supposed to lose all the time and not really win a lot. And when she does win, it's supposed to be by nefarious, untimely means. So, like, I think it fits.
I think Chelsea is more like leaning towards more of a comedy act, though, as opposed to Blake is not a comedy act. So I think, for Chelsea, you could get away with it. But I feel like personally, I want to see, Blake should be winning. And like you said, whether it's nefarious means or not, but she still should be getting more wins than she's been getting for the last year.
I agree. All right, let's get to this last match. 4-way between Hendry, Saints, Tony D'Angelo, and I forgot who the fuck the fourth guy was.
Ethan Page.
Ethan Page, there we go. Thank you. I think this was a way to kind of protect Joe Hendry in a loss. And this also kind of felt like a graduation ceremony match. I feel like a couple of these guys are going to be called up between Ricky, Joe. Ethan, I can see staying for a little longer because I don't think there's a spot for specifically him right now to where the other two you can throw in there and they'll get over the same way like a Trick or a Javon got over. Especially Ricky and the way he can talk. He'll be able to get himself over in that main roster environment, no problem. So, Tony D'Angelo winning was a good call. I've always stated once he dumped the stupid mobster gimmick, the guy's $1 million. He has the look, he can work, he can talk. He was just stuck with a stupid gimmick for so long. Now that he's just some badass guy who kicks the shit out of people, basically is his gimmick now. It fucking works. And him being an NXT champion is a new change they needed. Something different. So you got your top two champions are two new faces. You're kind of showing that you're starting a new chapter for NXT. So Tuesday's kind of a must-watch episode.
I didn't see the actual match, but I think there's a possibility for all three of the Hendry, Saints, Page to go up. I would just continue Page with Chelsea. The way they've been doing in NXT. I could see Ricky being the one who stays behind for a little bit because you still need that heel challenger to give, Tony that first win to solidify him as the new champion because there really is no one else in the men's division. It's probably the weakest division in all of wrestling right now is the NXT men's division. But obviously, Joe Hendry's going to make money the same way that we see Danhausen making money. He's going to be a gimmick and a song and all that stuff. So, and it's been 5 or 6 years for Tony D. And, like you said, he finally got out of that Mafia gimmick. That was not going to translate to the main roster whatsoever. It's something they should have gotten rid of years ago. So it's good that, Tony's doing this almost vigilante type character. The only problem is when the time comes for him to drop the title, you got to build someone up really well for him to drop it to who's going to be able to run the brand. Because at this point, once he drops it, it's either main roster for Tony or, you got to cut bait.
I agree. But, no, Stand and Deliver was, like I said, overall wasn't bad. The one thing I did notice is I felt like they made it look like Dynamite on purpose. Did you notice that? Or is it just me?
We said his name 3 times. He appears. But
so I'll explain. In terms of the production look, usually WWE pay-per-view events, PLEs, whatever the fuck you want to call this, are usually more lit, more bright. They want to show the crowd. You didn't notice many crowd shots in this because they were trying to hide the fact that they didn't have a lot of people there. And it just seemed Dynamite-esque, or at least Dynamite last year-esque.
I will say there will be a lot of people there when I beat Brandon the Hill in Trivia Mania, and I'm becoming your new Trivia Mania champion. So if you have time, pull up Trivia Mania when I beat Brandon the Hill and become the Trivia Mania champion, have bragging rights throughout the whole entire time I'm champion. I'm going to be the greatest champion to ever walk this earth and any other planet. I mean, Pluto, Mars, Uranus, and every other fucking planet that ever exists.
Uranus is the right keyword because your head is completely up your ass if you think you're getting even close. You'll be a nice third place. It'll be me. It'll be me. Who's the third person? DJ? Wait, hold on, Jet. Who's the third person, DJ? JJ?
Yeah.
So it'll be me. It'll be JJ, and then with his tail between his legs, it's going to be Jet crashing and burning and changing that profile picture for a week, which is going to be Chef's Kiss.
All right, so whatever. So whatever y'all were talking about, y'all can have y'all circle jerk back. I'm out.
Yeah.
The jet had landed. It's going to take off again. So continue with your circle jerk with whoever is in here, because I can't really see because I ain't got my glasses on. So circle jerk, continue.
Yeah, no, that was stand and deliver. Pretty much a circle jerk.
Yeah, and we said his name 3 times, so he fucking appeared. So you know what?
Speaking of the Jet, let's transition to AEW and their build to Dynasty.
Like gonorrhea, we can't get rid of him. Anyway.
So far, they kind of got a few programs pretty much in the works. Ospreay versus Moxley for the Continental belt.
Why?
Exactly why?
Not the match. Why for the belt? There's no need for that belt.
Because there's no Ospreay can't wrestle someone who has a belt without him competing for it in Tony's mind.
It just doesn't make sense because you're most likely not beating Ospreay, and you're setting Ospreay up, in theory, to win the Owen to main event All In London. So why
exactly? That's in everyone else's theory. That may have not ever been the plan.
I don't see how you don't do that, but I just don't.
No, because in reality, Ospreay should have won the world title 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Not now. So, but 2 years ago, he wrestled MJF for the national title. It was the national or American title, wherever the fuck MJF changed the name to. And then, what else? We got MJF and Kenny, which on its face is a good match, but I don't think they should have did that. If it was me calling the shots, I would have did Darby and MJF since you just ended Darby and Gabe Kidd and the Death Rider shit, and save your load for Swerve and Omega for the pay-per-view. And then you do for what's after Dynasty, Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I think so. Then Double or Nothing, you do MJF and Omega. I don't think Dynasty was the place to have this match unless they're putting the belt on Omega. That's what I'm thinking now. I think they're going to try to get one more last run out of Kenny. The same way now Tony Khan's going to get one last run out of another fucking old pony that I'm going to mention in a second. Because lo and behold, we were all wrong, but DJ kind of somewhat got what he wanted because Chris Jericho did return to Judas. It just only got half of a pop, and no one's really talking about it anymore.
Yeah. Before we get to Jericho, on Dynasty, we are basically a week away from the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 matches. So all the people that say that, Tony Khan is a booker and, there's all these storylines, you're a week away from a pay-per-view with only 4 matches announced. So Tony Khan is not a booker. He is a matchmaker because we're going to see a bunch of angles coming out on Wednesday to justify throwing a pay-per-view together.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I think the only reason you do this match with MJF and Omega is if you're putting the title on Omega. To give him almost that Danielson, golden watch. Thank you for everything you've done. One last title run. I don't know why you do this so early if you're having MJF go over. Tony rarely does back-to-back pay-per-view main events. So I don't see it being that MJF cheats to win just to run it back again at Double or Nothing. So I'm really not sure the play he's doing here. Yeah, so I don't know where he's going there. I just think it's Ospreay and Moxley. There's no reason not to have. There's no reason to have the belt available, in the match. It's a grudge match. We just threw together Darby and Andrade for no reason. And then, the only one that really, has been building up is FTR against, Cope and Christian. As far as moving over to Jericho coming back, what exactly are we going to do with Jericho in 2026 AEW? I just don't see how he fits in.
I mean, first of all, I don't think he signed a new deal yet.
No, I think he's just running up the 9 months he has left on his contract or whatever it is, because it's been frozen for the last year.
I think it's been frozen for 6. I don't think he has a whole year left.
No, he stopped. He stopped in April, and supposedly it was done in December. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So 8 months.
I think he'll only have to do 6 of those. I think they're gonna do like a last run for Chris Jericho. Make him do the rounds, have him do a few nostalgia AEW matches, like maybe another match with Kenny as world champion or something, or a Moxley match, or just something different with Jericho. He'll leave by the end of the year, show up at next year's Rumble, do whatever he was gonna do. And yeah, what do you do with him for now? Hell if I know. But he does add significant amount of star power that AEW has been lacking over the past 8 months.
Yeah, I just don't understand where he fits. Like, who's his first who could his first program be that makes actual sense?
Sammy Guevara.
So we're gonna have Sammy on TV after years, just because we need Jericho.
You ask it. Choose one that makes sense, not one that'll draw you money. You can't get the best of both worlds on this one.
And did Jericho actually seem? Is it me or did Jericho not seem happy to be there? Like reading his body language, he just seemed very mellow, and I've just seen him a lot more.
I think Jericho was expecting a lot warmer reception than what he got. Like he got a pop, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like Road Warrior pop.
It wasn't like the
oh cool, Chris Jericho's back. Not holy shit, it's Jericho.
And they weren't singing like they've had the song sung loud before. It wasn't very loud, and it was just
they had to pipe up the mic audio.
Yeah,
like you could hear it during the segment, them piping up the audio.
And was it me or did just the whole beginning of the show just seem real awkward with like the miscued, pyro and Tony Schiavone not acting like he doesn't know what's going on?
No, I thought it was all on par of Tony Schiavone. At least on the Schiavone end of things. I think that was very normal thing Schiavone would do. Completely missed his cue, start early, get the shit exploded on him, then start going into what he had to do, then get interrupted by Jericho. I think that was all completely on purpose to show how unorganized and unprofessional AEW is.
And it was April Fool's Day, so maybe that was the point of it too. Who knows? I did find it funny how easy it was to to kind of, troll AEW fans because I posted a tweet saying that, 20 minutes with no wrestling, WWE, smiley faces, 20 minutes, Dynamite, no wrestling, mad faces type thing. And I had so many people who took it so seriously, coming to wave the white flag of AEW and defend it when I literally made a post just trying to be funny and making a joke.
Well, don't try to be funny, Uncle Brandon. Maybe people won't get pissed off at you.
I know.
With your illogical sense of humor.
They don't understand the nuance of the gray area. It's what I think it is.
No, it's just they don't understand that the perception has changed.
You know what? Let's just. I wish they were here, but the fact that was an argument for 2 goddamn days this week, because it's so out of the realm
I feel
of.
so bad because I'm the one who technically started the argument because I'm the one who said it first.
And then you weren't even around, and I'm fighting off Jet and fucking Corey, and how you can honestly.
First off, it's called having a job. Okay, and my life ain't on Twitter.
I have a job. I'm just able to be on my phone while working at my job.
Nah, see, I run a successful business, so I can't be on my phone.
Right, listen.
I gotta make that money.
My point to the whole thing is how can you honestly sit there and realistically say that if AEW does better than WrestleMania, that there isn't going to be a change in perception and the optics. You're not being genuine, and you're letting your likes and dislikes for one company over another take over common sense.
No, I agree with you, especially in terms of and the only reason I ever said the perception would change would be the perception for AEW would be that their actual competition, it's not just a one-person fight. You feel me? It's not a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. And yes, that perception would change because right now the perception is AEW will never have a chance, will never be in the league of WWE, and shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath.
And for them to think that by saying that means that we're saying that WWE is going to fall and AEW is suddenly going to jump over them to be the number one promotion in the world or the United States or whatever is just not paying attention to what we're actually trying to convey.
Not even that. Why is it a bad thing that we would want that perception to change anyway? Isn't wrestling better when there is competition?
I mean, look what we got when WCW did it.
No, look what we got when AEW was actually nipping at the butt of WWE. We got the Bloodline, we got the Rock's involvement, and possibly one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Definitely of recent memory. Competition does lead to better wrestling and better product to where no competition leads to complacency and laziness due to creative of one specific industry leader.
Which is what we're getting now with WWE because, as good as, matches can be in AEW, I don't think they're catching up to WWE on a business level. And I think
that'll never, on a business level, that'll never happen as long as WWE is publicly traded.
I just think something has to give for WWE to improve the product and for TKO to take notice. And I'm sorry, guys, complaining on Twitter is not going to make TKO take notice. Posting, GIFs or, little nicknames for Triple H is not going to change the creative.
No, but you know what has been making them make notice? The lack of attendance, the lack of interest.
Right, hurt their pocketbook. You hurt their back pocket. That's when they take notice.
Perception is reality. Vince McMahon always used to say.
Do you think?
There is a reason. Like I said, there's a reason why all these celebrities are on all these shows. There's a reason why the storylines are for everything else outside of Cody and Punk, or not Cody and Punk, Roman and Punk, and Oba and Brock are not drawing shit, and that's because those two storylines have direct Paul Heyman input and involvement. I think that's the key underlying factor that no one else is looking at.
Do you think that if WrestleMania is a banger of a show, every match delivers, and something new or kind of fresh, I mean, there's really no new in pro wrestling, but something kind of fresh comes out of, any of those main events, that it could start to turn things around in a creative sense and, to use the word again, perception for WWE?
Yeah, they can write the ship if it's a really good show, yes. Especially it being the WrestleMania is pretty much your yearly factory reset button. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's your chance to restart the book, to start everything anew. And it's like that's the thing with WWE and WrestleMania every year. They get a chance every year to restart everything and change the perception of how the last year has been. So if they do a great show for WrestleMania, yeah. But I think the build leading up to it, but you also got to think about it like this too. The build leading up to it has pushed away a lot of fans. So the only fans you're going to be appeasing at WrestleMania are the ones that left, or not left, the ones that are left, not the ones who did left. If that makes sense.
But the thing is, you say that, but the ratings haven't really shifted downward too much for Raw and SmackDown. So the people haven't left in that sense. I know what you mean by like the ticket sales, and we can say, it's creative. We can say it's the ticket prices. We can say it's Vegas again, but they're still selling tickets weekly to the shows. The ratings haven't dropped drastically at all. Raw has been getting the same amount week to week, more or less. And SmackDown's been around 1.3, 1.4. So, I don't think it's so much, like I said, is it more the internet community complaining than the actual people who go to these shows?
I don't know. Like I said, if it was just the IWC, it wouldn't be translating into people coming to less shows and it hurting your attendance. At least that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So you got anything else today?
No.
I think that's gonna wrap it up then for this week, episode 17. We will be back next Sunday for episode 18 of the DJ and Heel Show, and look forward to seeing what WWE and AEW give us to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll probably do like a quick whatchamacallit, Dynasty prediction before the show even starts.
Yeah, we'll probably do a 5 o'clock show next week, so we could hit before Dynasty. We'll have pretty much the full card. And I'm hoping we get a good Raw tomorrow. I don't think Roman's on. We do have Brock and Oba once again going face to face. I think they announced JD McDonough against Finn Balor. And Rhea and Io against B-Fab and Mishin. And there was one other match, but I can't remember what it was.
The Jet versus the Heel on pay-per-view. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, that's the 17th, right? The 17th. That's the right date.
Yep, 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And I would just like to apologize.
I'll sit there versus LA Knight.
Yeah, so they're gonna probably officially make that match But I want to just apologize ahead of time to Jet's family for the beating I'm going to give to him. It's going to make it look like he owes me lunch money, and I'm going to send the Jet packing back to the kids' table where he belongs. As the Hall of Famer, the Iron Sheik, would say, I am going to humble him. Ach, puh!
Actually, no. The Sheik would say, "I'm gonna fuck you in your ass." So,
Well, the Jet has a fantasy of getting a stink face from Rikishi, so I didn't want to bring that up. So, but that's going to be it. If you are watching this, there is now a QR code on the video, so you could scan that to get to our socials, and you could find us on Twitter at Brandon the Heel, at CornyFan8876. Did I get that right? Okay, I lost DJ, so I guess that'll be it, and we'll see you guys next week.